afternoon.
Hi.
So you're listening to Meet McBiz, the radio show where we answer many of your questions about the life and the world here in Martin County, about what's going on.
The fair's going on.
Yes. We're
Martin
going to have
County Fair.
We're going to have a fair day, or for the next couple of weeks, 10 days, anyways.
Yeah, it starts Friday, 4:30.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Till midnight, and then Saturday till midnight.
Right.
Sunday till midnight.
Right.
10 o'clock, I believe, on Monday, and then 11 till Friday, and then midnight again.
Sweet. Good.
Lots of rides.
Yeah. Lots of things to do. Yeah.
Quite a few animal shows.
Yeah. That's always good.
Yeah, the sea lion. They've got live sea lions.
Do they really?
Yeah.
That's
going to be swimming in a big pond or a pool of water.
Yeah, just like SeaWorld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Traveling show.
How cool is that?
They live in a semi-truck. But they're happy. I'm sure they get plenty of fish.
Yes. Oh, yes.
They like those, I think, sardines.
Yeah. You know what? One of the places I'm going to digress. We'll talk about that one day. What sardines? There's actually an island off of Italy, which is part of Italy, called Sardinia.
I didn't know that.
And I would venture to guess that sardines are a big part of their staple.
They're salty.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, but a lot of good healthy fats in there. Good for your brain.
They do.
Good for your cholesterol levels.
And that voice you are hearing is
Dr. Michelle.
Dr. Michelle, that's right. From Miss Narson
Kase Personalized Healthcare.
Yes, you got a whole new.
I do. We were formerly Narson Kase Chiropractic, but we do so much more now, and it's fun, exciting. It's interdisciplinary, lots of different disciplines. I'll say working as a team, looking at the whole person. So we had to rename because we weren't just we were doing so much more, and it just didn't represent us anymore. So it's good. It's fun. We're doing positive things in the world, and every day I feel blessed to be able to be part of it. It's good.
Cool.
And you're kind of the band director too.
I'm a co-director for sure. But I feel like we all get to support each other in being our best and continuing our education, continuing our research, and allowing that to drive, keeping us on the cutting edge, and helping people in, every year it feels like we're doing new and exciting things. And I mean, they're well researched. When I dive into something, I research it ad nauseum, I always say, kind of jokingly, but the science is changing so much so fast, and it's exciting. I have to say, I feel hopeful for my kids because I think that medicine is going in a really good direction.
Yeah, one of the things that they're saying as a result of this new technology that they're employing for the vaccine, because it deals with a little bit with DNA and so they say that there could be a future cure to cancer, could be part of this as an offshoot because of this new way of sequencing and processing these things.
Well, there's, for many years, there's been a lot of, I'll say, many roads, many directions, all trying to I'll say, get to the end of that same race is how can we make you as healthy and whole as possible? From my perspective, I always say as natural as possible.
Right.
But many roads, and I don't think any of them are wrong. I think that you have to match up the right approach with the right person. So it's good to have many roads. I don't think it serves everyone best to have one road. But as far as the DNA transcription, I mean, they have things now like CRISPR, which actually can do gene splicing, and they can recode basically the expression of your DNA. So, I mean, fascinating stuff.
I've been reading about some new, this is deep and far-fetched, but it's called a MedBed, which is an interesting technology. It uses like vibrations or something, and it like reheals your chromosomes and genes. I've deep down the rabbit hole on that one, but it's called a MedBed. And there's 3 different type.
Well, that's a new one for me.
MedBed.
There's so much out there. I always say, do your research, make sure that whatever it is that you're going to try is reasonable, is rational, that there's, hopefully some research, but at the very least isn't going to harm or hurt you or break your bank.
Right.
It should be
Right.
reasonable.
Right.
It's funny. We get patients because of the internet. We get patients that walk in all the time, and they've printed out what they downloaded and they did research, and sometimes the research is fantastic, and sometimes it's a lot of garbage,
Right.
and would have taken them down a rabbit hole, as Todd says,
Mhm.
that would have been really expensive. And we say, you know what, this is not an appropriate or good direction for you, not really founded. And I think it's going to waste a lot of time, energy, and money. So let's not go that way.
Mhm.
But, you can't stop. You can't stop information now,
Right.
which I think is a good thing, as long as you're making sure that you're looking at it rationally, doing
Mhm.
your homework, and not just jumping onto the first one-sided argument, so to speak. So keep an open mind, do your research. And there's a lot out there. I certainly don't know everything. There's new stuff every day. I don't, like what Todd was just talking about, that, that's not something I'm familiar with, but I always give credit to the fact that there's so much we don't know. We think we know so much.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. I've read it's repressed technology, where it's there, but it's not released. But enough that you know about. There's 3 different types and healing on it. But I always say your immune system is your best defense on most things.
Absolutely.
Strengthen your immune system, and you can fight it all.
That's my best friend. I feel like that's what we do every day, is we're just working with, the power that made the body heals the body. And so if you can do things that support the body's wisdom to do what it already knows how to do, what it was created to do, I always think that's your best option. And that doesn't mean that there isn't a place for everything else. I mean, that there will always be a need for other interventions, surgery, medications when you have to. But, I think that should be more last resort. I always say, in general, start simple, start as close to nature, start as natural as possible, and as least invasive as possible. And if that doesn't work, you can always get more complicated, more invasive, and so on. But, let's not start there. It's a good good approach.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I was going to talk about automobile recalls.
You may do that.
we can do that.
We just went in a different direction.
No, that's why I changed it. Instantly just hit a left turn.
Yeah.
Left turn, Clyde.
Well, okay. Well, we could talk about the recalls, but I want to tell our listeners that there's going to be a golf tournament here in Florida.
Oh.
Just a little one.
PGA,
Just a little one.
Oh, yeah.
It's the big one coming up. And
In March.
In March, yeah. So just a few weeks away.
Just the Honda Classic, just a few weeks away. It's a big deal. I think a lot of people don't realize, and I don't have the stats. I didn't know I was going to talk on the radio today. It was very spontaneous, but
sometimes those are our best shows.
Well,
because they're not scripted,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys are always fun to talk to.
Aww.
So the Honda Classic, not only does it bring a lot of revenue and tourists and so on, but they donate a lot of money back into our community. I mean, I think, if I remember, it's like, over $200,000 that goes back into our community, from their fundraisers and so on. So they do a lot of good things that are even behind the scenes that people don't really realize they're doing.
Well, one of the cool things that they do is, if you happen to own or drive a Honda, when you show up there, you get preferred parking, or you get there gets some sort of.
So they're discriminating, are
They
they?
are.
Oh,
They
I
do.
sense a little bit of this singling out, do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, why not? Since they're sponsoring it, I guess they
Well,
can
yeah.
do that.
I guess you can.
Sponsors get a few rights. They get a few rights.
Well, I think that's pretty cool that they can do that.
Yeah.
And so your husband's very involved with the
He is.
Honda Classic.
He is. I always joke and say we're the best kept secret. He has been a member of the PGA medical team for 20 years. It's really exclusive. I mean, I don't know how many guys are on the medical team right now, but I'm going to say about 12 in the United States. So, so it's a big deal. He's kind of quiet about it. He always
he is very humble.
He's a humble guy.
Yeah.
He just loves doing what he does. How he says it he always says to me, he says, I just really like being part of things that are bigger than myself. And he does it from the heart. And he used to play football, so he's used to a team mentality. And he's loved golf his whole life, so he loves being involved. And
Yeah. How many years now?
20 years
20
on the
years.
PJ Medical team. Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
So it shows a good history of good performance on his part, obviously, or he wouldn't be there.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's really good at what he does.
Yeah.
And I think the most impressive part is, it's all so genuine. He's got a big a big heart. He just wants to help. And, he's just there to be helpful. And it is appreciated. He always says all the golfers are just really nice, everyday guys. I mean, it's their job, just like we all have a different job.
Right.
But from day one, he said they've always been really welcoming and kind. And, he gets clearance, pretty much the same clearance, as I understand it, as the golfers on tour. So he eats lunch in the same places and so on, where I think that's reserved only for medical staff, authorized tour media, and the golfers, because they want to have their privacy and a comfortable place to sit. And so, he'll eat lunch with players. And, I think the biggest thing, he always comes home and says they're just so nice and welcoming and kind.
And nice. That's great to hear. Now, do they have an off day where he would be invited to just go shoot around with them?
No, that never happens.
That would be interesting.
That is not a thing. No, he's, when he's, so these other, and I'm going to say 10 or 12 other doctors on the medical team, they rotate with each other. So there's never more than one physician on the field at a time. So when he's at any event, whatever he's covering, whether it's Honda Classic or something else, he's the only guy on the field. And of course, in the beginning of the week, there's, double or triple, the amount of golfers as they get whittled down.
Right.
So he's sometimes out there at 5 a.m, and he doesn't leave until 6:37. I mean, he's the guy for all the groups, along with the other parts of the team. There's always 2 physical therapists that are wonderful and fantastic to work with, and they work as a team. So he's the only guy there. If something happens, even if it's not within his, I'll say, license to treat, he directs the care. So if somebody does something that needs orthopedic care, then he directs it to orthopedic care. Something happens out on the, on the course, he can get called out onto the course. So it's fun. He really enjoys it. And
well, I could see why. Yeah. That's very cool.
I bet he's met a few famous people over the years.
He has. There aren't too many he doesn't know out there.
And he does, and the cool thing about David is he's not a name dropper.
He's absolutely not. He's humble. He's I don't want to call him quiet, because you get him talking, and he's a really intelligent.
We've had him here in the studio.
It's been a while.
Like pulling teeth.
I tried to get him here today.
Yeah.
From the Honda Classic, I have a signed Tiger Woods flag. I do.
Nice.
It's worth money.
I think so.
You want to buy
it?
He's gotten
why not?
a lot of things signed, and then we donate them so they can be raffled off. So we've done a lot of that over the years.
That's
too.
Great.
Yeah. Raises money for lots of different great causes.
Well, that's good. So if we could switch gears, we got like 10 minutes before we have to go to break.
Switching gears, that's like driving a car, isn't it?
It is. So guess what I did today?
You went and took your car and got a recall done on it.
I didn't get it done. I got an appointment.
Oh.
So the earliest they would do it at the Stewart Ford dealership would be a Tuesday was the earliest time. So I said, well, let's make it Friday next week. Give you plenty of time to get all the materials.
What is a recall, Frank? What is it? It's not your recall, but what is a recall?
Oh, well, a recall is when the factory tells you that you have some must-do work that...
Who decides that?
The National Safety Transportation people, right?
Yeah. National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. So it's a part of the federal government.
Yeah. So it's a big to
And
do.
the one thing they have to do by federal law is notify you by first-class mail. That's the requirement.
Right.
Does that have to be done at a dealer, or can somebody go to a place like
deal-
yours?
deal-
Dealer only.
Okay.
So
Dealer
yeah,
only.
so I gave
Dealer
the
only.
paperwork to Todd last week, and I says, "Is this something that you can
Have
do?"
I done recalls because people just don't want to deal with a dealer? I do it all the time.
Okay. So they
Yeah,
can
but-
choose to
but-
go to you.
Yeah, but they got to pay. But
So it's out of pocket.
Yeah, but
It's like
there's
insurance.
many businesses. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not worth.
It's
If
not-
it's a small recall, like a reprogram or a bolt or something, it's many times the cost benefit analysis says, hey, you know what? Well, I'm getting work done. I'll just do it real quick with Todd.
Sure, absolutely.
But-
That
Yeah.
makes
And you're
sense.
so efficient and so good at what you
Just
do.
Get it done right.
Just makes sense.
Yeah, but
Right.
big ones. I believe yours is a fairly large one, a gas tank.
Fuel tank.
that's
yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah, his
Yeah.
gas tank could blow up.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
It is. It's
Oops.
true, though.
So they sent me a remedial. So this has been a saga.
Did they
that's
send you a
been-
5-gallon gas can to use in place of it?
Wouldn't that be nice? A jerry can?
Yeah,
remember?
Jerry jug.
Yes, that's what they call them, by the way.
Yeah.
Jerry cans.
Yeah.
But you'll see them on some of the old Jeeps, the fuel cans.
Yeah, the metal
Yes.
with the metal flexible spout
Neck.
that goes
Yeah,
on them.
yeah,
They
yeah.
always get all rusty,
Oh, they do.
and then when they get rusty, they leak.
Ugh.
When you
Yucky.
pour it in, it drips down. Yeah,
Especially with the new gas, I imagine, because there's alcohol,
A lot of
got
alcohol.
water in there. Yeah.
yeah.
So early on, I was having problems with the transmission, and then I got the recall on the fuel tank, and then the fuel tank thing. They said, well, the fuel tank is maybe bad, but it's the equipment that goes into the fuel tank, the sensors, and some of the other things that they're worried about, right? That
Fuel
has
pump,
fuel pump,
rollover valve,
yeah.
evaporative emissions vent valve, charcoal canister, rubber hoses, pressure sensor,
Other than that, there's nothing going
return port,
on.
harness connector,
Wow.
rubber grommets,
And the
straps
and the fuel tank is
made out of plastic.
made out of plastic.
Yeah, made out of plastic. The problem is I believe that the one that issue you have is it doesn't vent properly the tank and it can balloon and blow up.
Right.
Wow.
Like the Ford, but the Ford Pinto, you had to hit it in the back to get it to blow up.
Yeah.
Yours just self explodes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that really is I'm not making fun. It's
No.
fact.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And it's very rare that it happens, but you
Yeah.
catch it. And I believe with the recalls, it has to be a percentage of to built to be an issue. And then I believe if life and death enters into the equation, it becomes not that either. Some recalls are just, annoyance recalls, convenience recalls, and then you have the ones that really can cause an issue, like, say, for example, your wheels were falling off.
Yeah, it could be.
You remember the Ford Explorer
yeah.
had a problem with the tires that it would roll over.
They had tires. I think they were buying from Firestone. At the time.
Firestone, I
Yeah.
believe Firestone, that wasn't their first go around with
No.
tire problems.
Yeah.
Remember the 721 back in the late 70s had the
Mhm.
cord separation and the dangerous situations. The Firestone 721,
Mm.
7 cords wrapped around 2 by 1, or
Oh, I see.
172 was a special marketing technique on the cord wrapping inside the tire itself. The steel cords
Mhm.
that are inside tires.
Yeah.
They give it the rigidity and the structure, and the ability to rebound from a bump.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, tires. That's a whole technology all by itself.
But all recalls are free.
Yes.
All recalls are free. They
Mhm.
can't charge you. And can you sell a car? And a lot of people ask, if I have an open recall on a car, can I sell it?
Yeah, does the recall follow it?
The recall follows the car, but yes, you can sell the car with an open recall.
Yeah.
I guess you see where that could run into a prisoner's dilemma is, let's say you're a secondary car market and you're a used car lot, or,
Mhm.
there's all kinds of them, like CarMax. There's
Mhm.
many now national, Carvana, for
Mhm.
example, that one where they deliver the car to you and you buy
Right.
it out of a big car gumball machine,
Yeah.
put a big coin in and the car comes
That's
down and
bizarre.
Isn't
you
it?
deliver. They got one in Orlando.
Yeah. I got to see that.
I happen to be one for this region, any car that has an issue with Carvana, I get them and repair them under warranty. They have their own warranty company, Silver Rock. So I'm the person
You're
that
the point person, huh?
I'm the
Well, they chose
Point
well.
of contact. Yeah.
yeah, so I get them quite a bit.
Nice.
But they're, of all the companies I've ever dealt with in terms of used car, Carvana is spot on the best. Now you are paying a premium for the car. It's not,
Right.
they're not the cheapest game in town, but whoever said the cheapest game in town was the best game in town.
Right.
I never, maybe with hamburgers, but
Mhm.
when it comes to buying a car or
I
medical
would
care,
think-
and we got
think
two.
twice about what I put in my mouth. if it's
Right.
the cheapest,
Same with
so.
same with where you go to get your body fixed, and same
Yeah.
where you get your car fixed. Cheapest game in town doesn't really make good sense.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think.
Right.
Generally
Right.
not. I always wish there was a rule that if something expensive had to be good quality, and unfortunately there's a lot of junk that's expensive too, but you can pretty much bet that most of the time the cheapest, the
Yeah.
quality isn't there.
Well, both of our businesses, for the most part, is service, which is the human toil, or our intelligence is really what we're selling. We sell time. I'm a
Mhm.
time salesman. I mean, really, I'm selling my time and my expertise.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. I happen to put parts on if I need to, but really, it's about time
Yeah.
and expertise.
And you do a little bit of the same kind of work that Michelle does. Is you do a lot of diagnostic work.
Yeah, you're a car doctor.
Right. But
Yeah.
cars now, they talk
You-
back to you a little bit,
Right.
and they have all kinds of. They're alive sometimes. They have a consciousness. Well, at least if it has Siri in it, or Apple Play or Android Play,
Right.
those all interconnected and networked,
Yeah.
which is interesting. And some of the recalls, talking about recalls, some recalls are, where it's updated the operating system. No, I know what Frank can tell you. What car company updates over the airwaves?
Oh, that'd be Tesla.
Tesla.
Yeah.
And who bought $1.5 million worth of Tesla right before the stock jumped? Anyone? Any guesses?
Who did that?
Well, she happens to have a gavel. Any more hints?
Judge Judy.
No, she's in the public eye. She rules over a big house.
Oh, Lady Nancy.
NP.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the
Yeah.
one.
Isn't that
No
amazing?
insider there.
No,
Just,
no.
no. She just it's pure speculation
Yeah.
and random choosings.
Wow. I
Day
don't wanna
before.
go there.
Day before.
Is that-
No, I don't assume anything other than she got lucky.
Yes.
Right? That's all I can say. It's like winning a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
No one whispered in her ear.
Speaking of lottery, didn't somebody in Chicago win the big lottery ticket just a few weeks ago? There was a earlier this year, I think. There was a big one with one of those mega ball jackpot
Oh.
things. Yeah.
Tesla has a lot of competitors out there coming online now.
Mm.
Rivian.
Mhm.
You got a couple other ones there's one that's a new one. Can't think of the name. It's got a 500-mile range.
Yeah.
And car company started by the ex-chief engineer from Tesla.
Yes.
He
yes.
broke off. It's
Oh,
kind of
wow.
like what Nest did with
Yeah.
the Nest thermometer. I believe he worked for Apple,
Mm.
and that's how he started Nest. That thermostat that's kind of a smart thermostat, NEST,
Mm-hmm.
which is now owned by who? Google.
Google.
Google bought them.
Yeah.
When in doubt, Google bought it. So
Google bought it. The Chinese made it.
yes, but with this car 500-mile range, and I guess a lot of times once technology becomes mainstream, what happens? It becomes shared, right? Common
Mhm.
knowledge, and then what other companies will do is, like, for example, this one, he was the one that really was the head orchestrator of a lot of the technologies with Tesla. He branched off on his own and maybe had a few inside thoughts that he couldn't express maybe where he was at before, and he expanded upon them, and now they've got some stiff competition.
Mhm.
In fact, Tesla just got canceled Elon just got his rocket deal wiped out. He lost that contract. I believe that's done.
Really?
Yeah, with the space station or whatever it is. I guess that's coming to a halt.
Really?
That's what I read.
I didn't know that.
There goes my vacation.
That's what I read. I don't
Wow.
know.
Kidding.
That's what I read.
Well, I
I didn't bring it away.
understand he's got some private crew missions.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some other things going, but I'm
Right.
just saying that I believe his contract with
the contract for the.
I believe was nixed.
Wow.
He was a very outspoken opponent. He was
right.
in the last year or two. He wasn't speaking the praises of certain people.
Not a fanboy.
He wasn't a fanboy of certain
No.
people or groups of people or
Yeah.
factions or
Right.
political leanings.
Well, him and the FAA have definitely been.
Well, he was the one that took the COVID test. He took 2 or 3 of them in a day, and he ended up getting different results every time.
Right. That's a problem.
Well, it could be.
But that happens all the time.
Yes.
That's
Yes, because they
False positive,
we could
false
spend
negatives.
10
Yeah.
out, and Michelle,
yeah, and we don't want to, but
we don't even. It has to do with what the test is about.
yeah.
PCR test, which is interesting in and of itself.
PCR? Is that like a PCV valve?
No, kind of, sort of.
Definitely
Kinda.
not.
Then it depends on how far you go back in the rings or whatever.
Yeah, and
Yikes.
PCR is supposed to be basically a identification, DNA identification on that level. But
Wow.
Yeah, it's just
high tech.
I mean, for the most part, I believe it's generally accurate. I wouldn't
Mhm.
call it a bullseye.
Mm.
Right.
no test is perfect, and definitely, there's
a good
there's a
indicator.
lot of varieties.
Good indicator. I wouldn't stake my life on it, though.
Absolutely not.
All right. Wait a minute. Let's do that. This is what I normally do, but I could do this when we come back. So stick with us. We'll be
Yeah.
right back. We've got much more to cover. All right, we're back because my computer's
We're
jammed
back?
up. Yes, we are indeed. Yes, there's a little return buzzer there for you. So, when we left on break, we were talking about cars and recalls.
Let's talk about the Martin County Business Exchange.
Yeah, let's do that. Yes.
What a fabulous organization.
Yes.
You want quality service, quality work done? Go to a member.
Mm-hmm.
It's all separate businesses, usually, well, for the most part, family runs,
Right.
smaller type businesses that are
Non-competes.
non-competes, and it's just a fabulous organization.
Mhm.
Dr. Michelle's in it. I'm in it. You get the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
In every category.
top
Mhm.
top tier, top notch businesses are all, they're vetted.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't join. It's a process.
Yes.
And once you're in, you have to keep on your game and deliver superior service compared to everybody else in
Right.
your
Yeah.
field. And
I
that's
always
what we
say-
both do.
I always say everyone in the group are people that are going to do what they say and say what they do. They're
Mhm.
trustworthy.
Yep.
It's not a guarantee that life is perfect and everything always goes well. But if something happens, if there's a bump, they come back and fix the bump.
Yep. But you got to know what you're doing too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know everyone I've dealt with. I've been in the group about 2.5 years, and everyone I know in the group knows what they're doing.
Is that all you've been in the group? It feels like you're rooted
Nah,
deeper than that to me.
2.5.
But good job.
2.5. But that's the great thing about the group is if you give someone in the group a referral, not only will that person take care of the person that you gave to them, but they also give you feedback and give you updates on how that whole situation played out. So you don't feel, the worst feeling is when you give your good friend a referral and you don't know how it played, right? You always want to know how to go. Did everything go smooth? Not that it wouldn't go smooth, but hiccups happen. And,
Right.
We show our expertise by what? When things go not right, how we handle it is where our expertise comes in.
Well,
At least in my
absolutely.
life, it does.
Sure.
Well, and I think the nice thing also is that, referrals aren't expected. They're done because we trust each other, because we have established connections that have established
Right.
trust and honor and so on, and professionalism in a way that you take care of things to a certain level of quality. And I've been in the group for 25 years.
Wow.
So yes,
And you were what, in middle school?
I was
at
a
the-
baby.
Holy guacamole,
I was
Batman. That's a long time.
I was a baby. So I've been in a long time. And what I've noticed over the years is exactly what I just said. People do what they say what they do, or they don't last in the group. They leave, they
Yep.
get whittled out. And sometimes I think it's not only because it's not just because they didn't do what they say or so on, but they had a different expectation. They didn't let people get to know them. There was,
If
I'll
all
say-
you're going into this group in is to be a cheerleader on your business, you came to
It
the
doesn't
wrong, you
work.
came to the wrong group.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. It's a group that values character and integrity and being honorable. And honestly, everybody in there is great. I've been in long enough to feel like so many people are my friends, and
Sure.
and I know I can count on them. So
And today we had Jay Spicer. Jay Spicer, I believe the head honcho over there at the Martin County Fair, came and spoke to us this morning. What a great presentation he gave. And
Yes.
we really found out quite a bit about Martin County Fair and their dreams of having an agriplex center out there going into Indiantown off Citrus.
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous dreams, not only for the fair, but for Martin County in terms of training to-be farmers. There's going to be all kinds of facilities out there. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was shocked. And I was the one that got the guy to come to speak.
Nice.
And I just had no idea.
I
That
was
was
so
complex.
impressed.
I was-
so
I-
impressed by his big thinking. I was so impressed by his desire to give back to the community, to help young people in forging a path that would be, a good foundation for them, as well as, a good thing to do and good in the community. Now, I thought what he proposed was fantastic.
Yeah.
He'll get it too.
I hope so.
Well, I know
I hope so.
it'll happen. I know so. It'll happen. I was out there this afternoon. That's where I just was before
Oh,
here.
nice.
And it's packed. I mean, it's going to be a big event. If
Yeah.
anyone's feeling cooped up because of the COVID, go out to the fair.
Yeah.
Bring your mask. Everyone's required, just so everyone knows, all the vendors are required to wear a mask, and we'll all have sanitation. So it's kept within line of
Right.
standards, so
Right.
everyone can feel safe. You can bring your family and not worry that
Mhm.
some stray virus is going to be running around. It's
Right.
all kept on the up and up.
It's not going to be a super spreader.
No,
Good.
no.
Good. Yeah. So the current location, the current home for the Martin County
The place
Fair
that it's always been.
it's a tiny footprint.
Yeah.
And so the new agriplex is going to be just huge by comparison.
But I was out there today. It's all kinds of.
Yeah.
They were already. Some of the food was cooking. I guess they were
Oh,
cooking
yeah.
for the. Oh, it smells good. There's nothing like onions and like steak tips.
Well, yeah,
and
they got
roasted corn. Think about the roasted corn dipped in
Oh,
butter with a little bit of salt on it.
Yeah.
Mmm. Doesn't that taste good? You get it at the Martin County Fair.
Yeah.
They have it. I saw it.
Sure. And
I saw it.
they deep fry just about anything.
Anything. Oreos, Twinkies,
Ice cream.
ice cream.
I've heard of that. Could you imagine deep frying ice cream?
No, I can't.
I can't either, but they
No.
do it.
Oh, sure.
I think if you fried cardboard, it would taste good.
I think it's the fat with the salt with the dough, I believe.
Fat
What
is
do I know?
flavor. Fat is
Lots
flavor.
of good rides out there too.
Yeah.
Degler Amusements been doing that since the
Right.
fair began, I believe. Good friends of mine, and
They-
they got the rides all set up out there, ready
Mhm.
to go. The Department of Agriculture, those rides get inspected every time. I don't know if anyone knew that, but whenever a fair opens at locations, the Department of Agriculture with the state of Florida inspects all the rides for safety, and everything has to be signed off on. So the rides are safe.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool indeed. All right. Good. And
I wanted to say something else.
all right. Yeah. Cool.
Wanted to talk about. We're back talking about the Martin County Business Exchange,
Mhm.
and if anybody's interested in becoming a part of our organization, we are looking for quite a few categories. There are
Mhm.
things out there. If you own a car wash, we'd be looking for someone that has a car wash.
Mhm.
Can't think. There's some other areas that we'd love to have a quality business in. If you think that you have a quality business and you'd
Mhm.
like to participate, I'm sure you could get a hold of the radio station here, and Frankie could direct you to the people to be, and
Mhm.
maybe we could meet you, and you could come to
Yeah.
one of our breakfasts, which is on a Wednesday morning.
Right.
And we'd love to have you as part of the group. And if your business if you sound like you can be part of our group and what we've been talking about, gosh, we want you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Join us.
Absolutely. One of the people that came in towards the end of the breakfast today was Brent Waddell from Freedom Waste Management, and just a great guy. And I've known him because him and I own condominium business.
You mean waste management, waste management?
Freedom Waste.
Oh, a different, a smaller.
It's a Stewart company.
Yes.
And they have the porta potties and the little dumpsters that they put onto job sites and stuff like that. And
So they compete against the Garbage King of Chicago.
they do.
And we know who that is, right?
Yes.
Who?
Waste Management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Garbage King of Chicago.
Yeah. Sure.
That's where he's from.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's how you kind of get rid of everything.
Blockbuster doesn't work. Get in the garbage.
There you go. There you go. All right. This is great. Oh my God.
Come on, we have to have a laugh every once in a while.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Come on. I drove over here fast to get on this show, boys, girls. My mom's listening today, too.
Good.
Watch me pull a rabbit
Hey,
out of my
Mom.
hat.
Again?
Nothing up my
We'll be right
sleeve.
back.
Presto!
Wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like. Does everybody know what time it is?
Hi, Tim the Tool Man Taylor. And you all know my assistant Al, this land is Boarland.
All right. So this is a nod towards Todd. Although,
Todd Taylor, the Tool Man.
yes, there you go. Very good. So I always like to honor all our guests here in the studio with a little fun audio stuff, and then I've got one for Dr. Michelle here. Let's see if it'll come up. This is
St. Elsewhere.
St. Elsewhere. Yeah. It's a medical theme show.
There we go.
Some really neat actors are in here.
I was a big fan of Trapper John, MD.
Yeah. Me too.
I like the guy that lived in the camper out in the parking lot. Called it the Titanic.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
one of my favorite, more recently, was House.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
because I do the functional medicine, and of course now we have regenerative medicine in our office. I'm just a big picture thinker, and I'm always thinking about what are the mechanisms underlying behind what's going wrong with somebody. And so I loved watching that show. And there was one time, you're watching all of these medical doctors trying to figure things out.
Mhm.
And I was following the line, and I was talking to the TV. I admit it.
Live TV.
They were trying to figure out a condition, and all the antibodies were negative, which normally the antibodies would help lead you down the direction towards a particular condition.
Mhm.
And so I'm talking to the TV, and I'm like, what if they don't make antibodies? And then House goes, what if they don't make antibodies? And I was like, yes.
And you got it. You said something, regenerative medicine. Here's a question for you, Dr. Michelle. Why can a lizard regrow its tail, but we can't regrow our fingers?
Just programming.
That's what it's
just
our
programming.
genetics, right? It's our DNA. Isn't that weird though that we
But
can't
we-
regenerate some things?
Sometimes people can. Certain
I think
things
we
you
can
can't.
regenerate some things. I'm not
Yeah.
telling you we're regenerating limbs, but
Wouldn't that be great?
but we do have more regenerative capacity than we realize. It's just a matter of, like you said, programming and figuring out how to tap into what body's wisdom, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, we are more magical than we realize.
Isn't that amazing? That really is cool.
We're doing some amazing things. I mean, it's been in the planning for years and years, but over the last year and a half, what we did is we integrated our office. So we brought in medical doctor, Dr. Mary Bugia, and Dr. Amy Falcone, who's got her doctorate in nurse as a nurse practitioner, and we've been doing procedures, joint rejuvenations, and it's amazing. I mean, honestly,
Yeah,
it's
so that's very similar. I mean, you're
absolutely
not only many times we think we're healed, but maybe we
the
eliminated the problem, but
Right.
have we regenerated or made the condition better than it was before the
Right. And I think what you're saying is, sometimes you've alleviated pain, but the absence of pain doesn't actually mean the presence of 100% health.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. So we're going below that and deeper, diving deeper. And yeah, honestly, it is blowing my expectations out of the water.
Mm.
It's been so much more beneficial than I ever imagined, and it's so much fun. It kind of raises the bar that we were able to reach before,
Mm.
and we're already getting some amazing
And
responses.
can you imagine your patients and your people that come to see you? They get to feel and see and touch and have that benefit. I mean,
It's the
you're
best.
I see your smile and how touched you are by this ability to, in your office, encapsulate other technologies and other minds to better serve the customer. And that's what you're doing.
Honestly, I mean, that I always say this, it's my life purpose. I'm I've been put here to be helpful, and that's when I feel my best, is when I'm helping people to, and figure out the questions of why they have certain health issues that have plagued them for years and they've never been able to figure out. I love giving people back their hope. And now, there are conditions that we've been working with that, I mean, I don't think people ever thought they'd be themselves again. And, they're coming back and saying, I expected this to feel better, but I didn't expect to feel this good. I didn't expect, all these other benefits. So it's fun.
You speak feel. So it not only can a condition be, let's say my elbow hurts and there's a problem with my elbow, but it couldn't, and I could have I could be depressed. I could have my work ethic, my drive at my business could be suffering because of
Absolutely.
hangnail and you fixed a hangnail. Now you've fixed their psyche too.
Sure. I mean, how we feel, when you have pain, that takes a certain amount of energy away from everything else, right? So it interferes. And a condition that is left, I mean, like a hangnail, obviously that's
Well, it can be infected.
self-limiting, but yeah, you get an infection, and then that causes a cascade of inflammatory, I'll say biochemistry, and then that has a cascade, almost like a catch-22. It just
Like
kind
teeth.
of keeps snowballing.
Teeth are that way with heart
Teeth
disease.
are so interesting.
Like with heart disease,
Yeah.
can't you get heart disease from having
Absolutely.
having bleeding gums? I believe.
Well, the interesting thing about teeth is they are the only part of our body that they're the only thing that goes from ectoderm to endoderm. So like they're a direct input into
It's like a
from
tree growing
outside to
inside of our
inside.
jaw, really.
Right. Absolutely. So it crosses that line. And so if you have too much bacteria, it can just zoom right in, get a, basically get right in without having to pass all the normal barriers that would have to jump over. So that's why teeth care is so important. It's vital to systemic full body health. It's a big deal. But that's, I'm always thinking about how do we connect, all of our parts cross communicate and talk and support each other. So you got to connect all of it. Is that 5 seconds?
Minutes.
5
5 minutes and the show's over?
Yeah.
I just got here.
I know. I know it.
What next?
We're just starting to have fun.
I know it.
Roll into the next hour.
Yes.
It's extended by popular demand.
Let's do it. Why not?
Recalls part 2.
Yes.
All right. So Todd, what is the safest car out there? Or the safest top
Okay,
3?
I'll tell you what. What used to be the wives' tale of safest car. Everyone used to, Volvos are the safest cars.
Because of the frame.
Not the case.
Yeah.
Not the case.
Not-
You want to know the safest car? Go onto your National Highway Traffic Safety Administration's website, and you can find they do it by stars, right? 5 stars, 4 stars. I have a new car. I have a Mustang Shelby GT350. It is a 5-star crash vehicle.
Wow.
Not only because of why? Not only does the frame have to be important in the collision or non-collision or rollover, but you've got seats come into play, right?
Right.
Seat belts come into play, right? Airbags come into play. Crumple zones come into play. Directed how the forces and the torques and the torsional forces from an impact come into play. How it's diverted.
Right.
All that science now is in the play. We didn't know that before. Like, for example, if you have a direct impact on the front of your car. Cars are designed to do what?
Crumple.
Transfer the energy away
Right.
from the passenger zone.
Right.
Absolutely.
So we never had that kind of technology.
No.
And I always say to people, like when we have patients come in and they've been in an auto accident and they're like, it barely dented my car. I said, well, that makes me more worried about you because energy created is going to go somewhere. And if it didn't deform the car,
It's
then you can
deforming
have a
you.
lot of underlying structural stuff.
And even minor things with cars, because you can have forces that travel through that car and you're right connected to it with your body, and you're going to have all kinds of issues with your back, your elbows, your limbs, your muscles, your neck.
There was a study once that showed that at 2 miles per hour, the right person and the right force and direction and so on, you can actually cause ligament damage from that.
Sure.
So it's just, all the right things lining up. And that's a lifelong, that potentially a lifelong injury, unless you put some regenerative medicine on it. And then potentially you might actually heal that.
I healed my elbow with deer antler velvet. I took supplements.
Yeah.
That's all I healed. I dislocated my elbow, and that's what really healed it.
I remember that story.
True story, whether it was psychological or whatever, but it really healed.
End of the day, doesn't matter as long as it didn't break
The
the bank or hurt
end
you.
result worked.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Where's a deer antler when I need it?
Well, they're up
Not in Florida.
They're in
Well, maybe.
North Pole, Santa Claus.
Reindeer, yeah. Reindeer.
Reindeer. We've had Santa Claus call here before.
Yes, we have.
Twice.
Santa Sal.
2 or 3 times. Yeah.
Oh my God. So yeah, this has been just wonderful. 2 of my most favorite people on the show at the same time. It's a real treat for
A
me.
trifecta.
Yes, it's a treat for me anyways. And I thank you for making the extra effort, Dr. Michelle, to get here, because I know you had
It
a
was
very
tight.
busy day.
It was tight,
You
and
did.
but it all worked out.
You
So
worked
thanks so
out.
much for asking. I appreciate it.
And we wish everybody there a great day. We hope to see you at the Martin County Fair.
Yeah.
And we think
I'll be there
Yeah.
answering free car questions.
Right.
Look for my booth. I should have a crown on. I'll be Crown Todd for the week.
Nice. Very appropriate.
excellent.
Wow.
All right. And John Campion, we hope your doctor visit worked out well. And
He went down to
you're-
Miami, I believe.
Yeah, so he should be on the mend. He should be back in Stewart by now. So, all righty. And we'll see you here next week right here on Meet McBiz.